Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Um, and we are live with another edition of Clean. Well, back and Adam, a lot of things to unwrap here. We're gonna try to fit it. What's the saying go? Try to fit 5 pounds of bologna in a 1 pound bag. I believe that that's the saying that we're trying to do. Nonetheless, a lot to unwrap, and I thank you for taking the time. You can find this podcast on anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. There's also a video version up on the Thomas Sports Show on YouTube. Try to do these things at least every 2 weeks. I think this one was a little bit over 2 weeks, but nonetheless, we're here. And oh man, when I started up this podcast last week when I left you, I said that wrestling is probably as red hot as it's ever been, and we could all be in that agreement, I think, right? Um, and just it continues. It continues. A couple of things I want to go over here. Um, no particular order, but the first thing, really, the first news that just kind of strikes me is TNA. Right, we could start with that. TNA, Scott D'Amore. Man, back in the day, I was a big TNA fan. Still am, but they've lost its way to TNA, and then they became Impact Wrestling, and they went through many trials and tribulations. Now they're at a point where they've been on a roll, so to speak. I mean, you're if you're looking at ratings per se, it might not be there. But I mean, you got to look at the overall picture there. On a streaming service, they, are a part of, in one way, there, TKO, in some regards. They're on their way. They have the roster is stacked. It's talented. People come there because they want to be there. And recently, just a couple of hours ago, Scott D'Amore was let go. Without Scott D'Amore, and I'll tell you this: without Scott D'Amore, TNA would be no more. This man, he took a company that was on its last legs, and he built it back into a respectable name in the industry. He gave wrestlers a chance to shine and rebuild their name, provided consistent booking, and gave you the most consistent wrestling show around, to the point where Impact became the most slept on show amongst wrestling fans. And because of that, Scott D'Amore was able to take the Impact and rebrand it into TNA. When people made that announcement, me, I had a slightly different view, but nonetheless, Even though I didn't agree with it, I could see that a lot of people liked it, and many people were clamoring for it. What was once tarnished was back into shining like gold, and that's because of Scott D'Amore. We owe Scott D'Amore as wrestling fans a thank you. Nobody's sure now what's in store for TNA. A new power regime will surely bring changes. You really don't know how things like that work out until they really don't unfold. One thing I do know is this: TNA was on the way up, and this is a surefire way to halt much needed momentum. Anthem, what are you doing? Yeah, he's very good. Look, some people, in the message boards, the comments, I hear them say that he pushed the ex WWE stars too much. Trinity was given too much. Mustafa Ali, and grizzled young veterans already have title shots. But when you say that, by those standards, Peraza was also ex WWE, right? And she would be known more for her time in TNA than her time in WWE. I just wish that there's this mindset sometimes along that IWC that people that worked in WWE should not be able to thrive in other companies. And it's like almost that the corporate suits now they see the opportunity to squeeze TNA for every penny. No thanks to the man who turned it back into a respectable company for them. How quickly, I hope not, but how quickly did this fizzle out for TNA? Very surprised. Some people, and I think that's the problem that from what I read that the Anthem group they wanted more of a stronghold, a kind of a more of a grip on TNA. Uh, it's people started getting back into TNA solely because of the more. Sounds, to me like the talent, thought very highly of him, and the product showed because of him. It's hmm, look, I mean, very weird. So all these years, like I finally getting momentum. That's when we pulled the rug on the guy. To a sense, the maybe a little bit of jealousy there, and the higher ups wanted more about more closer to. They feel like it's maybe Scott D'Amore's company instead of their own company. But I mean, if this is something, this is a company that you didn't even expect to be making money, is now at least doing something. Why would you just? I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you this much. Tony Khan has a chance of a lifetime right now to get Scott to come in and turn the turn that AEW ship around. I'll tell you that much. You know, if Tony and Khan had a guy like Scott D'Amore in there, Tony could concentrate on being the CEO instead of being the booker and day-to-day operations. You know, the guy over there. It will make things a lot easier for him. I hope all is well. You know, and I hope this works out for TNA. You know, speaking of no, actually, let's jump into the Royal Rumble real quick. You know, the main event in the Royal Rumble, when you had Roman and you had LA Knight, you had AJ Styles, you had Randy Orton, all of them in there. You kind of, you know, for what it was. I enjoyed the match, right? But you kind of already knew what was going to happen, or you had a premonition, right? You had your your thoughts, and you were pretty. This was, I think, a match safe to say that we all knew was going to end up the way it was because we were already right, like programmed in our mind that we were going to have Roman Reigns versus Cody, right? In our heads. Oh, but boy, will I get to that, folks. Will I get to that? And, but I thought it was very funny where at one point, and what kind of what we thought would happen, kind of happened. We seen Solo Sikoa kind of, he came out there and put his interference in. And with the other Uso, who, by the way, just uh, uh, what is it, Jimmy Uso, who kind of just seems to be the jobber of SmackDown now. He is very funny with his no yeet, right? No yeet. Just a funny dude. But yeah, I mean, notice too. To just keep this all in the back of our mind too. How pretty much every victory um, has been with interference from um, well, both Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, but Jimmy just gets straight out just knocked out, and it's always Solo that causes the major distraction here, major problem. Keep that in mind. I think that will play in a big role down the line, right? But nonetheless, Solo Sikoa, does the interference. At one point, well, all four men were stacked, kind of very similar to what happened in that Daniel Bryan Edge match. Well, by the way, where is Daniel Bryan and Edge? Has anyone seen Daniel Bryan Edge? Has anyone seen him? Where are they? Very similar to that. No, a typical match. Typical Roman Reigns match where very slow. It was a methodical match, and then he turns on the gas when he needs to. Um, it had its moments there to kind of keep everyone engaged. There were times where you thought to yourself, "Wow, just maybe this might be happening. Maybe Roman will lose here." But nonetheless, Roman wins 1, 2, 3, and and we're off. And Roman at this point, if we could just put a mental note on everything, Roman Reigns is going in as a champion into Elimination Chamber. We had the IC title match. You had Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. I'll tell you what, Logan Paul, man, can't say it enough. Logan Paul, um, for doing this part time and being like a social media celebrity type, and he has other projects and other ventures that he works on. Logan Paul does not disappoint. He does not disappoint, and I could understand why he is um, champion, right? He is able to cut a promo, is does not embarrass himself in the ring, and he does good. He does good. Yeah, but I think he is a natural um, heel too, right? So he's a natural heel. I think at first they were kind of trying to grow him into the WWE universe there as a face, which really didn't suit him. He's more of a heel, and there you are. Kevin Kevin Owens, man, just he plays that. I wish Kevin Owens would really just go on a run, right? But hopefully that's now. Hopefully, we see something like I don't know where they're gonna go on SmackDown. They mentioned that they're going to kind of Logan Paul is going to find out who his next challenger is going to be. You know, keep in mind we still have Elimination Chamber, and then we're going into WrestleMania. I think a lot of us are kind of overlooking Elimination Chamber and just thinking we're going straight to WrestleMania, which is not the case. So I'll be interested to see where this goes um, with Logan Paul. I think the match that we're going to see is Logan Paul versus LA Knight. That's what I think we're going to go here. Gives LA Knight um, some type of title. Um, and I think LA Knight would need that. Would need a title out of like all the other possible opponents for Logan Paul. I think LA Knight needs the title. I think LA Knight needs a title because it's going to help him. I think um, develop or kind of continue on his character. He needs to add layers to his character. Um, I want to know, and maybe with this title win, I want to know who LA Knight is. I want to know his story. Right now, I just know LA Knight with the catchphrase of yeah. Um, everyone's saying LA Knight. That's all I know is gimmicks and phrases right now. I think, and this was said somewhere that they're interested to see in LA Knight's longevity. I mean, like his development. Where does he go from here? I mean, he lost his title opportunity against Roman Reigns twice now, so it's time to move on. And you have to stay relevant. All these guys, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, they really don't need the Intercontinental Championship. So I'm very interested to see where we go with that. Very quickly, too, from the Royal Rumble, we've seen Jordan Grace from TNA. She had a good showing, and I think that's very cool. WWE went out of their way. Now, I say out of their way. They really put her over. The entrance that they had, she got a nice entrance. She got a nice little ovation there, and they did her right. Right, she was wearing the title. They addressed it as even TNA, so they gave a shout out to the company TNA, and I think that that's a good thing, right? That's a was it forbidden door type of a deal. Look, it does something for both parties, right? Right, with Jordan Grace being on the Royal Rumble for the WWE, it kind of in storyline wise, it kind of paints the picture or further proves the picture that the Royal Rumble is a megastar, super important event, right? And for Impact, what it does, it gives to a shout out to a company on it's a, let me rephrase that. It is a shout out. TNA is receiving a shout out from a major company on their network with their subscribers. And with that impressive showing that Jordan Grace had, the hopes is that it's going to take some viewers from the WWE that watched the Royal Rumble, and they're going to look for Jordan Grace, and they're going to be like, wow, Jordan Grace was on TNA. Who's on TNA? Was at the Royal Rumble. Let me check out when TNA is on. Oh, it's on a Thursday? It's on Access TV? I don't have Access TV, but maybe I'll get the app. Or maybe I'll go on the YouTube channel to look at some of their clips of Jordan Grace and other wrestlers. And you know what? Maybe eventually um, I will subscribe to the app or I will become a weekly viewer. That's the hopes there, right? And the WWE is willing to do this because they are right now the Ferrari on the block, right? And they have, I'm sure there is some type of working relationship. I don't know what's going to change now with the new ownership. Maybe it continues, maybe it doesn't. But, it's kind of a situation where, you rub our back, we're going to rub your back. We're going to give you exposure from our audience to your athlete, and hopefully that will in turn make them look on your roster. And we get to kind of further elaborate how grand our Royal Rumble is, how what a big event it is, nationwide. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is no reason why companies cannot help each other in one way or another. I know they're competition, you might think, but they're at different levels from each other. So it's not really sustainable for a company that has viewership of a million people a week as versus a company that has 200,000 people watch them a week. That's not competition. Eventually, you hope they could compete with each other, but they're on two separate levels. So helping each other out helps the business grow and it helps everyone all involved. You know, I don't know if there will always, you know, in the internet wrestling community, you kind of always see the tribalism between viewers. Why? Why the tribalism, right? If it only wrestling right now lost a lot of people, lost a lot of viewers years ago. Where will they ever get these viewers back? Who knows? But if the companies could help each other out and all play in the same sandbox, that might help their growth and where everyone is happy. Naomi made her return. Uh, she looked phenomenal. I think what Impact TNA did with her was great. And it's a two-way street, right? Uh, more than one person is involved. But Trinity, Naomi, she did the work too, and she, got herself over there, won herself a championship, and she kind of was able to prove her worth as to what she's capable of, and it's gonna make her run now that she's back in WWE. You imagine she's gonna be taken a lot more seriously. I think this is something that she needed to do. And when the WWE, when the management sees what she does on the outside, outside of the WWE, years ago under the old regime, and Vince McMahon, and boy, do we need to talk about Vince McMahon too. I don't know what can we say, but we need to talk about him too. Under the old regime, Vince McMahon back then, it was just Vince McMahon and no one else. And like no other company existed. Naomi Trinity left. George, she was kept tabs on by Triple H, and she did better for herself. I think she raised her stock. Same thing, by the way, can be said about um, Mercedes Moné, who looks like Sasha Banks might be going to AEW. Apparently, Tony Khan did make an announcement this week, and I think that's what's going to be happening. That they're having a show, and to the extent that there's going to be big business in Boston, they're having a show there. I don't know why he said big business, and if it was Mercedes Monet, Sasha Banks, I don't know why he just did not come out and say it, but that no, I think that's where we're getting to. I think we're going to see Sasha Banks relatively soon in AEW. I think the contract talks. I think we would have seen her at Royal Rumble. The contract talks have kind of just stalled or didn't work out, and I think that's where we're going to see her now in AEW. And she upped her stock as well, but she did get injured, so it's like, okay. I mean, can she stay healthy when she is getting all this love and she's expected to produce and draw money? But hopefully she's able to stay healthy. And This is assuming she even goes to AEW. I'm just speculating, but I think that's where she will um, end up. So back to the Royal Rumble. Yeah, you've seen. We've seen Jade. Man, they made Jade look like $1 million too, right? Jade looked great. She made her debut. Was actually in there for a while. You had the face off between her and Nia Jax, I believe it was. And believe it or not, she was actually uh, actually taken out of the Royal Rumble by Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, of all people, who is coming back from her injury, looking good as usual. There you have it. No surprise here. Bailey. Well, maybe you were surprised. I kind of was surprised. Bailey does win the elimination. Does win the Royal Rumble. A lot of people were thinking that it might be Becky Lynch that would win, but no, that did not happen that way. Bailey wins, which is no. Um, Good to see. And I think that's nice of her to win. I will tell you who she picked later on in the podcast as I'm just wrapping up the Royal Rumble. And just kind of the last thought here. Um, CM Punk, we find out was injured during the Royal Rumble. He has his triceps that were injured. You know, he comes out on Monday Night Raw the next day after the Royal Rumble and he says, listen, I injured my triceps. You know, something to the extent where he thought that he could just maybe even, jokingly paste his triceps together and so on and so forth. But it, it was not the case for CM Punk and his triceps. Injured again. Injured again, we found out during the Royal Rumble match. It was a spot with apparently with Drew McIntyre. And that injury for CM Punk, who did not get to finish his story this year, man, it's like Father Time, right? Father Time always wins. And CM Punk, by the way, doesn't he look like Aaron Rodgers? He does not look like Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, that's nonetheless. CM Punk injured, with those triceps again. And I know he on Monday Night Raw, he said that that this is just it's nothing that he cannot uh, rebound from. He's gonna work his hardest to come back from this, and when he comes back, he's gonna go after Drew McIntyre. He already knows that, man. Drew McIntyre has been an asshole, right? Recently. Um, I mean, I think we all had this, preconceived notions now because the WWE has kind of put everything in our head that this is what it was going to be. We thought, that we would see Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in um, WrestleMania. But now, if CM Punk is injured, and Seth Rollins too is still injured, what's especially with CM Punk being injured, that makes this match kind of impossible, right? It makes it impossible. And everything is then essentially flipped upside down because CM Punk is injured. CM Punk, great talker. Um, people still care about him. Right? Wherever you go, he creates a controversy, which is why he paid him money, or he causes some type of emotion, which is why you pay him the big bucks. But can you trust him now with these injuries? I mean, they're not reoccurring, but they're all injuries in separate places. Can you trust him to, lead a main, be a main program? Right? I said this about, someone, that WWE would constantly try to give this guy a push, make him like a main guy, but he would constantly get injured. I forget who it was. Um, Name escapes me, but yeah, I mean, it's time investment, and it's not the easiest thing. Well, in a few minutes, if you're constantly hurt, and this program is kind of already being worked on months in advance before it would have come to fruition. And so it's hard to do sometimes to just change plans on the last second. But yeah, CM Punk was injured. I think Taya takes the time to kind of insult him. He has since made shirts that have said uh, WrestleMania story ended, and it's like the hell in the buried alive grave, and like Punk is in there, and something to that extent. You can see it. It's a funny shirt, but that's it. Punk is now hurt, and you have to fit it, or things are kind of just turned upside down. So, and by the way, they do, from what I understand, they want CM Punk to commentate. I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. I mean, CM Punk will not immerse himself on the microphone, but you want to create that, or you want to keep that illusion of, a special attraction, keep the pops going, um, get the fans stoked every time they see CM Punk. I don't think you need to, at this point, see CM Punk every week. The WWE fans love him. They love him now, right? It's like they welcomed him home. Um, Sadly, he only had one match, and then was injured in the Rumble. You've seen a video prior to that of him training in NXT and having conversations and smiles with all the talent. So it's a shame. It's a shame, and you just hope that his career is able to stay on track, and this is not kind of just the wheels falling and you trying to you know fix the wheels. So I hope I hope everything remains you know, intact here going forward. Um, look, Cody, as we suspected, would win the men's Royal Rumble. And when he won the men's Royal Rumble, he had pointed to the top. That's the title that he wants. He wants this championship. He wants the championship that Roman Reigns wants. And he points to him, in the booth. It's like he's saying, listen, Cody's saying, I am coming for your championship. I'm coming for you. And that's how Royal Rumble leaves the air. Now, what's going to follow is we're going to have to kind of wrap this up for us in a relatively uh, time frame because it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, in general, what we have to remember as fans is that there is a ton of time to do this still. To change that, there's a ton of time. It's a general state. There's a ton of time. So, um, that being said, we're just going to take a quick little break. Let's see here. I'm going to put on a old wrestling video for you guys. Let's see what we could have here. A quick little video. I'll be back in 4 as I'm getting something to drink. Because Mike worked my ability to stand out. Yeah. The the girlfriend left me route against Danielson. He took a quick, he became a one. Like, doing it wrong. If you present yourself as a world champion, and you know it, you'll be talking about money. And not long-winded, just kind of high school stories. I like the wrestling in AEW, but every time someone starts talk, it takes me out of it. Like, nobody is good. It's crazy. Middle school type of argument, so bad comedy in a sense. Mind you, he dedicated over 30 minutes in that Ice Skip musical. He did in Long Island with him way too much. And nothing of value to the story at the time. Yeah. Yourself. Well, and I'll say it again. He's very good, but he has to have someone to lead him and protect him from himself. Him doing the heavy lifting. There's no shock. There was no shock as what Jericho and Danielson to an extent, you will get that. Someone with experience could, wrangle, guide him down the right path. But someone on, okay. So, okay. So now, let's all get up to speed here. All right. By the way, always you could always find this. You could always subscribe to my channel, please, at the Thomas Sports Show on YouTube. That's where we're at. So now, here we go. Okay, let's get us back here to sanity, and I know a lot of people are hurt now. Right? Okay. And I just want to kind of, I have to do this in a very short. Let's keep this in mind. Okay. After, so then after the Royal Rumble goes off the air, right? Cody Rhodes is pointing to um, Roman Reigns. He wants him. He wants to finish the story, right? We then go into Monday, and Seth Rollins comes out. Mind you, now this is, I think, kind of where things kind of changed after CM Punk got injured, right? Because he has a torn triceps. They got to throw this in here to kind of, you know, or at least they wanted to, I think, maybe not so much because CM Punk was injured, but they just wanted, in a sense, to keep or remind the audience maybe that there is another world championship and it's just as equally important. But, Seth Rollins was making his case for his title that he's saying CM Punk, that he was saying that Cody should fight him, that Cody Rhodes needs to, that Cody Rhodes, needs his title, needs Seth Rollins' title, because that is the working title. Why does he want Roman Reigns' title? That's the Hollywood title. That's the title where, he's not a fighting champion in Roman Reigns. When he only wrestles 10 times a year. Who wants that belt? You want the working man's title belt because your father was a working man. But Cody Rhodes says, look, I've beaten you. I think it was already 3 times at this point. I have nothing to prove. I ain't never beaten Roman Reigns in so many ways, in so many words. He says that, I've never beaten Roman Reigns. I need to beat, Roman Reigns. But you know what? You you do make a strong, valid point. I respect you, Seth Rollins. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to give you an answer. We then find out, we then have Cody Rhodes going to SmackDown, and he's saying he wants to, pretty much go after Roman Reigns' title. And Roman Reigns, in the same vein, is saying, listen, the Rollins' title is like, like the scrub title. It's not, that this is the real title. That's the title that holds the lineage. That's the title that his father, Dusty Rhodes, had for a few seconds before it was taken away. That's the championship, not the second tier title. And Cody Rhodes goes, you know what? and Cody Rhodes goes. Cody Rhodes says, "You know what? That I want that title. I want your title, Roman Reigns. Just not tonight. Nor will I have it. Nor do I want to go after it at WrestleMania. I want to take everything from you, but not at WrestleMania." And it's puzzling, right? It's very puzzling at this point. And he introduces at this point, and he introduces at this point The Rock. He introduces The Rock, and nothing is said between The Rock and Roman Reigns. Cody and The Rock just basically, or The Rock just kind of whispers something to Cody, and Cody looks as if his dog died and he wants to completely cry. He wants to cry. He wants to cry. Someone stole Cody's sandwich. Cody wanted to finish the story. And it looks like now Cody is not able to finish the story. That's what it looks like. He's not able to finish the story. Why? Why, oh, why would the WWE do this? The Rock took Cody's spot. The Rock took Cody's spot. He took his WrestleMania spot. The Rock did. It's going to be 2 years in a row and he can't finish the story. It's unbelievable. Well, very simple. Mind you, we are still, as of this recording, we are still 2 months away from the Royal Rumble with a press conference up in regards to WrestleMania. This past Monday, we want Cody signs were passed out at Raw. We want Cody. They're passed out. Not by the fans, but by the arena. WWE passed these signs out. We want Cody. The trials and tribulations of Cody. They in the WWE want to make Cody Rhodes a martyr. They want to make Cody Rhodes as sympathetic as humanly possible. Sympathetic. The biggest baby face of all time. The biggest baby face. what the WWE is doing is they are taking the scenic route. They're taking the scenic route to get to this spot where Cody Rhodes becomes and finishes his story. Now, to me, where Cody Rhodes is at this year is a lot better than where he was last year. Because they continue to build and build and build and build layers upon layers to Cody Rhodes. That's what you want. After that's in detail, in depth, in depth. That's how you say it. They are taking the scenic route. Look, I think you're still going to have Cody versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. At worst case, look, at worst case, if you really think about finishing the story, it would be in Madison Square Garden. That bull rope that Cody Rhodes was, that bull rope match that he was in this past week, was the same bull rope his father used. They are throwing little hints, subtle hints about Madison Square Garden. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's at that point as well, which I think is like July, right? But ultimately, I do feel that Cody Rhodes will win at WrestleMania. They have been continuing it for the whole year. The video game is based on him finishing the story. It's the scenic route, folks. The scenic route. And it won't bode, to be something where all this just, after Roman Reigns is cocky and he defeats um The Rock night one, all this says, you know what? You have been so cocky and arrogant and, just going on and on. You're fighting Cody night two. Now you have Cody beat someone that beat The Rock as well. And now he beats Roman Reigns. Even bigger and better of a baby face. Good enough for this week. Guys, do check out the YouTube channel. A lot more content is on there as well. And I hope everything is well, guys. Relax. Not be so in disarray. Because WWE has always taken the scenic route. The scenic route. Where are they going with this? Danny built a rock. Come on, fans. Being so fickle. I hope all is well, and I'll see you next time. YouTube, you've been real. Give this video a thumbs up, like the stream. Hope all is well as well. Let's try to say